Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Cal Brannan. Firstly, Cal, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, recovering from the disappointment from last weekend. But yeah, apart from that, still being prominent. I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. We'll start the live stream. I know we're labelled it as Rafa, and we'll get into Rafa and Newcastle and all of that in just a little bit. But I think we'll start off with talking about Ronald Koeman, as we were literally just on about the man before we came on. Are you shocked?
No. I'm shocked he stayed on this long, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought he was going to get sacked easily like a month ago, and there were rumours that Barca can't financially afford to sack him. And then Martinez was linked with the job quite heavily then. And I can't help but feel like he might have missed his boat because they didn't sack him then. And now it looks like Xavi might be taking over, which is, I mean, I don't know. He's obviously Barca legend, but so was Koeman. I find it mad that people with their CVs have got this job because at one point in our lives, roll back 8 years ago, this was the job everyone, every manager worth their salt would want.
It still is, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, even with their financial circus going on, it's still Barcelona. They're not, the draw they were, but they're still a draw.
Well, I mean, technically, right now, if I'm right, like they're technically right now a mid-table La Liga side. Like,
yeah,
they lost to Vallecano. Did they draw? They were losing. I know that
they lost. I think that's what his final nail in the coffin was.
And ninth in La Liga, below teams like Osasuna and Rayo Vallecano. With when Barcelona are 6 points behind Real Madrid, and like, don't get me wrong, I think Carlo's actually done a decent job. I think at first it was quite miserable. They've had the loss to Sheriff, but I think he's done quite well to get performances out of players like Ansu Fati and Ansu Fati, Vinicius Junior. Vinicius Junior, yeah. I think I was going to mention Ansu Fati with Koeman. That's why it got me confused. But I think Koeman is in a way he's kind of done what Man United should have done with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's there, and he isn't a fantastic manager, but I think he has laid a foundation for something out. Like, there's a lot of young players. There's Gavi. There's, Fati, who, let's face it, it's not because Koeman's some masterman manager, but he's put the foundation down for, I think, a much better manager to take over. Xavi's just won a cup with Al Sadd. He's won their version of the FA Cup. He went unbeaten in the season. Yeah, the quality of players is much there, but he's playing the Barcelona way. And to be fair, you won't see another Pep Guardiola where a Barcelona legend goes through Barca B up to Barca. He's been, in a sense, Al Sadd was his Barcelona B. He was learning the Barcelona way, and I don't think it would be the worst appointment, to be honest. I want them to hire Martinez just so we can say that the Merseyside the El Clasico is just two old Everton managers still, and to prove that we are still dominating European football. But yeah, I think it was bound to happen eventually. But I just think you can't. I understand Vallecano are in a European spot right now, but you can't be losing to a bloody team that's got a 95-year-old Radamel Falcao up front.
Yeah, it is a bit. Before we get in, I'm reading the comments. Hello to everyone, the usuals: Inky, Nate Diaz. I thought it's Nate Diaz. Philip Mason, Wormy, Irwin, Koeman. Special shout out to Wormy, who's asked, "Are we going to be reading and talking to the commenters?" We are. I always try to. As I always try to as much as I can. So yeah, we will be reading your comments and talking to you guys. We're just going through Ronald Koeman being sacked because I'm sure my Twitter was full of Everton fans rejoicing. So I thought we'd start with some good news. Just to after a weekend of misery for us, it was nice to see that. Saw a couple of like memes of Umar Nias with his whiteboard going, who's not going to let me now, which was fantastic to see. But yeah, well, I mean, I'm still trying to wait till we get to the Benitez bit because I think that's a good midder because that's the Newcastle takeover and everything and all the juiciness in that. Interestingly, Inky's put here that Barcelona are Waitrose, which is quite a posh shop to have said, selling quality stuff to people that need it, aka Suarez to Atletico. Yeah, I mean, some of the way it's classic Ronald Koeman. Some of the way he went about trying to get players out the club was classic Ronald Koeman. Titty getting him to train him for like warm up just so he could get abused to get him out. I mean, I was saying to my dad, I think he's done, because I think he's done. But then I saw Michael Ball, former Everton player, tweet saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle went for him. Some big club's going to make the same mistake. I mean, I don't know if he'd go to Newcastle, but I do see them making similar mistakes that we did when we had a lot of money.
I think Newcastle are going to be a worse version of us. It's going to be us with even more money.
I hope so.
Like, think about it. Like, listen, Diaz is a good player, Luis Diaz, but 70 million euros? No. Like, come on. Like, he could be good. And with us playing 40, I know, like, saying, 40 million compared to 70 million nowadays isn't that much. But I think in COVID it is. Because I think 40 million is still... For 40 million, for example, you can sign a player who's almost a superstar and you can see it in them. For 70, you expect a superstar. Like 70 is still top. You expect top of the range players, really. So,
you don't expect someone who in 5 years they'll be a good player for 70. You'd hope, in the maybe the first season's an adjustment period, but certainly in a second they help raise your team for that type of money.
Yeah, Mitchell, one second, Mitchell, they don't have 350 billion to spend. That's the net worth. They're not going to spend the net worth on Newcastle. They've got, if I don't know what's right, they've got 180 million to spend freely without any FFP worry. So, spending over a third of your budget on something that's not guaranteed when the spine of your team is the real problem and you need to be improving, the defence, arguably the midfield first, instead of signing another winger. Listen, I'd love Diaz at Everton and, but I also won't love it for 70 million, especially because there's still places we need to improve. If, for example, if Newcastle buy Tarkowski on a free and a few other players, that sorts out the midfield and the defence to a decent level, and then they make him the big signing, then it's good. But we signed 4 number 10s, 20 million expecting Klassen to be good, 50 million expecting Sigurdsson to be good, and Diaz is much better than them, but it's just they need to make sure they don't do on us.
Which I think every team, City, took a while before they got it right,
and I think Newcastle will take longer.
Yeah, Wormy's put here that is Rondon taking off yet as a name? I mean, obviously we've put there. Are you happy with the Rondon treatment? We'll start with that. We'll get in with that. Rondon, the only player I've seen that makes it look like he's playing in Timberlands. Honestly, it's painful, and I'd love to be one of the guys. And I've seen it on Twitter loads. Get behind him, and he's going to score this weekend. And for the first 2 weekends, I entertain them. Now, every time I see it, I think you cannot wish something that bad into existence.
Like, we just conceded a hat trick to Josh King, to the guy we had in our hands. He was right there.
But yeah, Rondon. I mean, the treatment, as in from the fans, I think is justified. Because like the way I see it, the first 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, people like he's not played. Well, certainly the first 2, people like he's not played in a while. His fitness, yada yada. But then he's had fitness. He's had an international break where just because he doesn't play for Venezuela doesn't mean he shouldn't be training. He has training in between this as well. The game's on his only fitness. He has training. He's been here 3-4 weeks now. He should be a little bit fitter than what he is. And like I get that he's he was never rapid. I don't actually think he's that tall either. So I don't know, because he doesn't win that many headers for me. He's just very strong. And as shown by the amount of free kicks he gives away high up the field. He's a very tough lad. But like the way I see it is like, if you're not fast, okay, there's ways around it. You don't have to be a fast striker. There's plenty of strikers in the world that aren't fast who are good strikers because their positioning, their intelligence. But I watch him play and I think, it's tough. It's tough. I'm just really glad Richarlison's back. But give us your thoughts on Rondon, Cal, because they're quite scathing then in mine.
He's Umar Nias level.
Say Nias put in more of a shift, he ran a bit more.
Because so my lecturer's an Everton fan, my new lecturer, so we were talking about it. And he's might be worse than Cornet and Nias, we were saying. He might be worse than Cornet and Nias. Like, because the thing is, I'm pretty sure at least, did Aruna Cornet score a hat-trick, or was it Nias? One of them scored a hat-trick for us.
Nias scored a couple for us.
Or one of them scored 2 in a big game. Oh, I don't remember.
Aruna Cornet is a blast from the past. What a guy.
Yeah, he's just because the worst part about it is I can see that there's something in him, because there's something where he'll dribble past someone, or like he does it a few times where he takes like a good touch for a guy of his size and then just freezes in place. He won't play anyone else in. He won't. And listen, I understand because he's got a bunch of average players around him. Listen, Andros Townsend is an above average player who's playing out of his skin right now. Let's face the truth about it. And that's why we love Townsend, because he's a typical Everton player who, typical Everton from like back when we used to get the best out of crap, back when Moyes were the manager.
As you say, he's quite a Moyes-esque signing.
He's Moyes massively, but he just does nothing. I understand why Rafa doesn't play Dobbin. I understand the guy's a child. Is he going to be able to handle it? But when I'd rather have Rafa up front, to be honest. When Rondon's playing like that, it's just, I sat there during Watford and I was like, because the thing is, losing 5-2 to me wasn't the problem. We were 3-2 down and went to go for the game. Yes, most of it was defensive mistakes, and honestly, most of them were probably Godfrey's fault. Like, in the end, Godfrey's going to have a clanger every now and again. It doesn't change my opinion on Godfrey. He had a bad game. He hasn't been the best this season. I think but it's also, COVID injury. I think it's just, we miss Mina. I think we definitely miss Mina. And I think not having, to put it simply, if Richarlison starts, we beat Watford. Because we would have blasted goals past Watford if we didn't have that idiot up front. He's a big donkey. That is literally the nicest way to put it. It's like, Rondon, he seems like a lovely man, right? He seems like one of those footballers who you secretly don't want to insult because he seems like a lovely geezer.
Yeah, he does seem like a nice fella.
But he's crap. And listen, Rondon, please do a Townsend and prove us wrong. Please, we want you to do that. But he's crap. It's just, you can't have that much of an impact against a team that Tom Davies can score against. Tom Davies scored in 3 minutes, and Solomon Rondon couldn't score at least one. It's like, I
don't even think, from what I was watching, I don't even think he came close. That's a bit. I wouldn't mind if he was, unlucky and someone said, it's a world-class save, denied him, or, I don't want to be that guy, but I bet his XG was on the floor because he just doesn't strike me as the type of guy to get into his chances.
No, Rondon's supposed to be someone who gets good service, but in the end, he doesn't even seem to jump for the Townsend crosses. He doesn't. He just stands there and watches the Townsend cross will actually come near him to a point where if he reasonably jumped, yes, he might knock the ball over, but he'll at least get his head to it. And it's just, I just sit there and I go, how? How were you good at West Brom? How were you good at Newcastle? What? Because it's just, I understand he's older now, but he's that type of player where, let's face it, he's one of those players who's not going to lose the physical attributes that are important to him until he's mid to late 30s. He's not got any pace in the first place. It's just, to put it simply, it's bad when I'd rather play Alex Iwobi than Finger. Because yes, Iwobi had a good start, but Iwobi's back to normal now. So I'd rather just start with Richarlison up front and play Gray, Townsend and Iwobi, or Gordon, sorry.
Gordon, I'd like to see a bit more of.
Anthony Gordon, he looked good again against Watford. He looked really good again against Watford, in my opinion. I think he has to be starting every game until Calvert-Lewin's back, and then Richarlison up front, because Rondon is a sack of crap. I'm not going to swear, but he is god awful.
It'll be interesting to see what he goes with. Looking at some of the comments here, we've got some transfer, some fair, fan reaction to Rondon. A lot of people agreeing with us. We've got Anthony from Ajax. I think Wormy's just saying he'd love him, sees him as the next Rafinha.
If we can afford him.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd quite like him, but I don't know if we could afford him. There's a couple of wings I'd like. I'd like Jeremy Doku from Rennes as well, but I don't know if he's an affordable option.
That other one from Rennes looks quite good. Not Doku, Sulemana, I think it is. The one who bossed PSG, he looks quite good, but I don't think they'd sell him because I think they've just got him. There's a load of good wingers out there. There's Neres, but Neres has got a bit of an attitude problem. There's Chukwueze, there's there's loads of players, but I think the problem is, can we afford them? I'd love Anthony. I think Anthony would be similar to Rafinha for us, but I think it is Jonathan Bamba from any of the Lille players. Lille asking, Ikone, Bamba,
Yazici, the number 10, even looks good.
Yazici, Chelik, Renato Sanchez. It'd
be unreal.
It's just there's so many players, and I think the problem with us is I said this when I was talking to my dad. I was like, if we're going to have an injury crisis at any point, now's the best time, because he's brought in the new geezer who's like he's like a medical expert. Rafa brought in after.
Now he's like a fitness expert, isn't he? He's going to sort our fitness issues out and injury issues.
Yeah, and then
unfortunately,
his first day he got hired. Decore got injured, and people found a way to blame him, even though he just got the job.
I was going to say, since he's joined, he's had the worst luck because we've had so many injuries bounce back off it, and it's like, ooh.
I mean, isn't Decore back a lot earlier than expected now?
Yeah. They reckon he's back.
How many blood vessels would burst if we loaned Dele Alli in January? None. Can't be worse than Rondon. It can't be worse having Dele Alli in attacking midfield than it is having Rondon up front. Because the thing is, in
the number 10 role, I think he works. I don't think you should drop him in the midfield role, like anywhere lower than that, deeper than that. But in the number 10 role, I think he could work.
I'd much rather have Dele Alli in the 10 than Solomon Rondon up front, to put it simply.
We need a 10 as well, because I'm not sold on Iwobi there, and I'm not sold on him playing Damari Gray.
Gray plays well in the 10, but Gray drifts out wide, so then we've got a big space in the 10 that's left open.
And he's got more space out wide.
And now James is playing in Qatar, clearly regretting his life. Please tell me you've seen the video of James just clearly regretting life watching the game. And it's just... We need Gordon could probably play in the 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Gordon there. We just need someone who's going to make things happen, pull some strings.
Link with Hwang. Oh, don't tell me that, Wormy. Why? Because now, do you know what you've done now, Wormy? You've told us that we were going to loan in Hwang Hee, and now he's going to score against us because Wolves is our next game. Why? It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed Hwang Hee scores against us now. Anguissa went to Napoli for Yeah, I'm not too bothered about Anguissa though, because Decore's kind of played the role Anguissa would have played for us. Like a midfielder is the last thing I'm going to complain about. When before his injury, he was form-wise one of the best keepers best midfielders in the league. He was. There were at points where I was confused that we'd managed to swap Decore for Yaya Toure, and I'm not even joking. At points, he looked like Yaya Toure, and I was like, But yeah, hopefully he comes back fine. Davies looks decent. He got himself involved in a goal. He got a bit of a license to go forward more, and he was a bit better. But
he needs that goal as well, confidence-wise. He needed that.
Yeah, but it was just a sloppy game from us, and then just having someone like Rondon up front just didn't help it, really, did it? So it was just... I think all of us knew. I think most of us expected to lose to Watford. I don't know if it was me. I just had that feeling. I was like, yeah.
No, I thought we were going to... I thought just because we should be, really.
I was like, this is it. This is where typical Everton kick in now. Because I don't think it's Rafa's fault. Because it was all defensive mistakes. And like the goals we conceded were crap. They were absolute... It was just bad positioning. It was just bad all around. And it's just... it was just crap all around. So it's just... In the end, listen, I'm not going to start... Unless Rafa loses 4 or 5 in a row now, then... Because then he has to go. We can't lose 4 or 5 in a row and him stay, but...
Well, my worry is that, and Erwin's... We'll get on to Erwin's questions because it's a good one, but my worry is that he was always going to be 5 losses on the run, from people turning just because of who he is. And people can say, he's been taken in, he has been taken in, but he will always be a bad run away from turning. And I saw a couple of people tweeting, all his hard work's been undone in one afternoon.
No.
I'm not personally saying I agree with it, but I think from what I could see on Twitter, it has sort of.
It's just the fans being idiots, isn't it? Like every fan base has got them. They've got idiots. Like there's Liverpool fans who were asking for Jurgen Klopp out after he'd been in the job for 6 months when he had Benteke and Balotelli and just crap. Like I know using Reds as an example is probably a bit painful for us all, but look at where they are now. I'm not saying Rafa's going to turn into Jurgen Klopp, but give the Portuguese a chance first. We always are going to lose to a relegation threatened team. We do it every season. It's just which one was going to be the one that beats us. At least it wasn't Norwich. Touch wood.
No, I don't think it's the fact we lost. I think it's the fact that we were 3-2 up and then just 2-1 up and then managed to lose like 5-2.
Well, it's set pieces, isn't it?
Which last season we were so much better.
Well, no, because we weren't. We were good at scoring them, but we
were better defensively. We were a lot.
Oh yeah, we were better than that, but we still weren't very good.
We were a lot. That game, the Watford game, reminded me of the Marco Silva era, where every set piece was going to be a goal.
Can we not nab Ancelotti's son back? Ancelotti's son clearly liked it here. He doesn't have to work with his dad. We'll take him back. He can become the manager if he wants. Apparently he was the manager.
I don't know if he's going to switch. Real Madrid's still a big draw for him, but I don't know if he's going to go behind his dad's back quite like that.
Well, snake your dad out. Your dad's imagine.
It'd be typical Everton.
But
Owen has made a good one.
We need a coach. Sorry, we need a coach. Sorry, we need a coach. Just a coach who's an expert on set pieces. That is it. His job is just to draw set pieces up.
Surely Rafa knows someone.
He's got to know someone. I swear Newcastle used to be decent from set pieces when he was a gaffer. Like, is it? I don't know what it is. Is it?
It's this insistence on zonal marking, isn't it? And I know people will argue it works, but like at Everton, it's a bit like the 5-back. I just don't see it working.
We don't have enough quality for that. When Mina and Godfrey are on their day and the back line's on its day, then yes, we can zonal mark. But it's never on its day. You know what I mean? It's just it's zonal marking. Because I just feel like they don't stick to the zone properly as well.
No, they all look a bit.
They all stand in the zone, but then when the ball comes in, they all move away from the zone, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
The problem that although we've had a couple, because Silva used to do the zonal marking, although we've had a couple of managers that do it, they're just maybe it's a natural instinct type thing, but they can't help but move from the zones. I don't know if it's a natural instinct in a footballer or if it's just the players we have, but they just don't seem to be working.
Because even like another thing we can do, and it stops counter-attacking opportunities, just load the box up with our own players. If we're going to keep conceding, there's no point having one player to sit there like Richarlison, to sit out and get ready for a counter-attack. Because when do we score counter-attacks off a set piece? We don't, because we always concede.
So I don't think our players are quick enough to,
we don't. Gray's quick enough, so just chuck Gray out there.
Gray on the line would be good.
Just chuck Gray out and then just try to hoof the ball to Gray. Have Townsend hovering around that area, so further down the pitch, so he doesn't have to run as much. And then it's just he doesn't have the facilities, to put it simply. He doesn't have the personnel to be playing zonal marking. Who do we have that's any decent at zonal marking? I can't even say Ben Godfrey because he can't zonal mark to save his life.
No,
he's a man-marked defender, so is Michael Keane.
Before we will get on to Irwin's because it is sort of the main prospect of the live stream as well. But on the last thing, did you see that the Athletic and they did an article and it was all about Italy, the Italian league, and how they're defending free kicks. The author is slightly. I've got his book. I think it might be Michael Cox. He does. It is Michael Cox. He does In the Mixer. He wrote it for the Athletic, and it was basically, this is revolutionary. And it's the same way we were defending free kicks last season under Ancelotti. With everyone really deep. And like the first thing I saw in the comments was Everton did this last season. It's not that new.
Yeah, like it's not new. It's just they've got a coach who actually does it properly. The thing is with Rafa is one of those coaches that is willing to do new things. He's willing to experiment, not in like an attacking sense, but he will incorporate new things if necessary. Like he's rigid, but I feel like if someone goes to him, look at how this worked for Carlo last year, it was a lot better than this. You think he'd give it a try, but it's just, it's just been absolute. It was just awful because Wolves are crap too. Let me just put it down. So Wolves are crap. But it's at the Molineux. Players like Hwang Hee are in form. Jimenez is in good form. He's basically assisting every time Hwang Hee scores. So it's just we need to be careful.
Well.
Do you know what? Adama Traore against Digne as well. It's a guaranteed yellow card for Digne. It's another guaranteed yellow card. He's not been very good this season as well. He's another one who's just been.
There's a couple of them, aren't there? But I do agree. By his standard, he's had a poor start. Irwin has put though, because obviously the Newcastle takeover, which has happened. I didn't think it would ever happen after last season. They missed out, but it has. Apparently, they're insisting on Benitez, and they want to make sure it's a definite no before they look at their other options, which was I mentioned on the news video I did the other day. I actually think if they were taken over last year when they were meant to, he would be perfect for them for what they need right now. Unfortunately, he's with us. We'll mention, worst comes to worst. I personally don't see him leaving.
No chance.
He's too much of a gent. He's not Ancelotti. I know people will say money talks and there's no loyalty in the game. And maybe I'm being a bit naive and he'll get hurt again, but I don't think he does. From what I've heard from a lot of the Reds and, Newcastle fans loved him. He seems like a really nice guy, regardless of his links with the other side.
He's Liverpool based. The reason he wanted to be Everton manager is so he was close to home again. Listen, if he leaves, I don't think it's the end of the world. I'll be a lot less upset about this than I was Carlo. Honestly, I'll sit and go, it's not ideal, but at least it's early enough for us to actually, we'll be crap at first, but then the team can really get gearing up and then maybe we can bring in a manager and we can actually play nice football. But
I don't think he would, but I agree. If he did it, I won't be. Even though I don't think he would, I wouldn't be like, oh no.
I don't think he does. No chance. I think there's absolutely zero chance. Unless Newcastle. Listen, if Newcastle want to play us 25, 30 million to take Rafa, we'll take it. Well, I'll take 30 million and then we'll pay 10 of that to Brighton for Potter, even though Brighton are above us in the league. So that probably what happened. But it's just.
Well, yeah, I can't help but I agree. Like, if he left, I'd probably read it out to my dad, and I'd probably look at my dad and go, "What a." And then that'd be it. No sleep lost. He's not said he loves the club. We weren't sold a load of lies. We know him. We know who he is, sort of thing. Yeah. But you have mentioned Potter, and Irwin's question is, who worst comes to worst, he goes to Newcastle. Who would you want personally to replace him, and who do you think would replace him?
I'd want Brendan Rodgers. Don't care about his red links. I said this when we were talking about it with Rafa.
I think we're past that now, aren't we, really?
I don't care if he managed Liverpool 3 years ago. I don't care if he managed Liverpool 20 minutes ago.
I think we're past the Liverpool link when we've got Rafa.
Like Benitez. I said to someone, it might have been with you. Would you take Jurgen Klopp? Yes, you would. You would not care. It's like, would you take Mo Salah? You do not care about the shirt he wears. You look what you're being offered. It's like someone. It's like I'm trying to. I can't think of an example. It's like someone offering you like a Ferrari, but it's red instead of blue. Are you going to turn the Ferrari down because it's not the color you wanted? So it's just. I think give Dunk a chance. Do you know what? Yeah, at first as an interim. This is maybe what I do. Give Dunk the chance until like January. When people start getting sacked from abroad and stuff, and then pray to God Leicester sack Rodgers. That's it. Because we're not getting Moyes. I'm telling you, Moyes is going to win 2 trophies at West Ham this season. He's going to win the Europa League and the League Cup.
I think he's going to do a classic David Moyes, and he's going to choke. He's going to have a really good cup run and then choke.
I don't know. Who's he got left to beat in the Carabao Cup? He's just knocked Are Chelsea still in?
Liverpool are still, yeah, Chelsea and Liverpool are still.
Yeah, but
knocking
Liverpool don't care. Look at the team Liverpool played against Preston.
I was
Liverpool
say,
will.
Brentford on their day could beat them.
Brentford possibly.
They're a really good
I mean,
club.
Owen said I'd have Moyes back. I'd have Moyes back. Yeah, 100%. I'd take him back. But because I think Moyes. The thing is, Moyes isn't the same manager he was at Everton. He's better now than he was at us. 100% better. He's learned from his mistakes at Sunderland, Sociedad, United. He's realised how to coach in the modern football game compared to when he was with us in the 2000s. And he's adapted, and look at the team he's made.
I think with Moyes, it's got to be, the environment's got to be right for him. It wasn't right at Sunderland. It certainly wasn't right at Real Sociedad. He needs to have the majority control of his team, and he needs to be in the right environment. And I don't think Everton now, where he'd have to talk to Marcel Brands, Bill Kenwright, and Farhad Majiri before a transfer even gets mentioned or brought through, is the right environment for him.
I think the problem is, right, Brands. I don't understand why it's so difficult. Every other club does it. The manager and the director of football communicate, and that's how they find the signings. But with us, Brands is in this corner, insert manager here is in this corner, and they don't communicate with each other. Like,
the names evaded me, but there was a fourth person involved in our transfers that the Athletic were reporting. He's not even bloody hired by us. I'm trying to think of the name now, and I'm quickly trying to look it up.
We're trying to be modern by trying to go more modern than other people around us, to the point where we shoot ourselves in the foot every time. Because in the end, has this approach worked? No. Why are we still trying it then? It's, it's like, for example, you go on Tinder and you use the same chat up line every time, and it fails every time. Why would you keep using the same chat up line if it never works? Do you know what I'm?
Yeah, I mean, when I read the Athletic thing, it was like, and I can't remember the guy's name, and I can't find it, but it was a guy who's not even hired by the club. No, he wasn't even.
If it's Athletic and someone's
no, not the journalist, as in like the fourth person that the transfers go to, he's not even hired by the club. And I was reading it, and I was like, why are you involved? Like, but it's mad, mate. Like, they were saying, it's like Everton must be the only club where you've got to go through 4 people to get a signing in. And I don't think that's the right environment for David Moyes. I think he'd quite like a little bit more control over that. I mean, whether, saying that, Kenwright, I've heard, is quite soft on him. So maybe Kenwright would have a word and say, leave him alone, let him do his job. But I don't know. I feel like Moyes at Everton will be linked with him every time the job comes available till he retires. But I can't see him returning.
I think he'd
stab West Ham in the back.
I think at the end of the season, not this season, he would not do it at all this season. Because he knows there's a trophy chance. Next season, he would do it. And, West Ham fans are like, well, we're in a better position. Moyes loves Everton. It's just a simple matter of fact, as he does. I did never got rid of him. But obviously we had no choice. We would have all told him he was stupid to turn United down. You know what I mean? At that time, you can't turn Man United down. No one blames him for leaving. No one's got any bad blood against him for leaving. I don't think we get him. I don't. I just think maybe now he sticks with West Ham until he sees real signs that maybe this is the end at West Ham. Not of him being sacked. Just he might see the writing on the wall. Souček and Rice might get bought. Because I think next summer Rice goes for about 80-90 million to Chelsea. I really do. I think Rice is that good. I do. I honestly think Rice is more worth big money than Grealish is, but I really rate Declan Rice. I think he's really good. And that's not me saying Grealish is bad. I just think Rice can be one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. I think with Grealish, it's just think he shouldn't have moved to City, but that's not for now, really. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. With Rafa, I don't think he leaves. So I don't think talking about other managers is the best. But if I could pick any manager I'd want, it would be Rodgers. But realistically, it'd be Ferguson, and then we'd wait till someone gets sacked to perform. Like Owen's put here, a good manager gets the best out of bad players and plays to their strength. Ours is trying to play a system that doesn't work. We are overperforming. Wormy puts it, We've got £1.7 million Damari Gray playing out of his skin, and Josh Townsend's one of the most productive wingers in Europe statistically.
Yeah, his return's fantastic.
It's like wishing, to put it simply, wishing for another manager. Let me just get.
I don't think it's so much wishing. I think it's just with Newcastle looming over him and it's big money. I don't blame him in quite asking, if he does. I don't think we sack him, by the way. I think this theoretical thing we're making that is mainly if Newcastle come and swoop him.
We would only let Rafa go to Newcastle for a massive compensation fee. Why? Because we know it's we should know it's a massive pain in the ass to get a new manager in October. Well, there'll be November when it happens. No, because put it simply, like Graham Potter, he says Graham Potter becomes available. Would you take him? 100%.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't unless Graham Potter handed in a resignation to manage Everton. Why would he when Brighton are better than us right now?
I think, I mean, my dream one would be Potter. A Gaultier would have been nice. He's already having an impact with Nice. I'd have really liked that, but that's been and gone. I don't see that happening.
I just want Rodgers, man. I don't care about the Liverpool link. I just want Brendan Rodgers, man.
He's Prem proven.
He's Prem proven, and he's getting Leicester in the Champions League. Like Leicester don't get in the Champions. Leicester don't get top 6 without him. They don't. They don't come close. Yes, they've got a good squad. But who put every part of that squad together? Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, and the recruitment team, to be fair. They've got because even before him, when they won the league, their recruitment then was, which ironically was Steve
It's the thing, isn't it? It's what we were just mentioning. Why is the recruitment team so good? Because it works with the manager.
Yeah, it's the environment's got to be right. I mean, people are going to call me a hipster for this. I'd really like to see Marcelo Gallardo in Europe.
You are proper. I would. It is proper hipster though, isn't it? It's so hipster that you just don't want to say it. But it's like,
I don't know if he'd work at us
in Europe eventually. He's got to manage in Europe eventually. I wouldn't mind us being the experiment club because we're not going to go down.
I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think he'd work at us. I don't think we've got. He'd have to. He'd have to root the squad up and down and rip out a couple.
He could bring in his boys from Argentina because it wouldn't cost much. It's Argentina. No, we could pay him 2 Twixies and we could. They just lost both of their best players for free. One of them went to Frankfurt, and there's the one we were linked to, the Uruguayan midfielder, Delas Bora, something like that.
Oh no, I thought you were on about Wilmar Barrios at first.
No, he's Uruguayan central midfielder. Someone in the chat might know what I'm talking about. River Plate, Uruguay midfielder. I don't know if he left, but his contract was expiring. But yeah, players like that. But it's just Rafa doesn't leave. I just don't. I think people are just going off because in the end, who was Man City's first appointment with the money? Mark Hughes. Like everyone's getting it was Mark Hughes. Do you know what I mean? It's like Newcastle can realistically still go down.
Yeah,
it's not out of the question.
I mean, realistically as well, like who do we get? Like really, like obviously Duncan. I think that's a good shout. Realistically, is what we do. But like three managers, Lucien Favre, I could see us. Because he's available.
He couldn't coach a defence, man, and that's the problem.
Just because he's available, I think that's one we'd look at.
Like Valverde, who managed Barca, it'll be boring football, but we'd get results and it'd be stability. Like in the end, right now, that's all we can ask for. It's like people putting here, what if we get battered in the derby? I don't think we will. I don't know, because I think Rafa knows this is the game. That's the game where he has to do something.
Like I watched them tear United apart, and you know what?
Right. Even with Tom Davies in our midfield is better than theirs.
Yeah, but
McTominay and Fred is the most boring partnership in the league.
I agree, it's rubbish, but Mo Salah right now, unfortunately, might be one of the best players in the world, if not the.
Oh, he's the best. He's
the
best player in the world. I was torn between him and Benzema, and then he did that to United. He's the best. Mohamed. You know what? He's a red, but he's not a prick. At least he's a nice guy. So it doesn't hurt for me as much to say it.
I'd love him to leave.
I'd love him to leave. I hate that Liverpool have the best player in the world. They've got the best centre back and the best winger in the world, or the best player, arguably the best goalkeeper as well. Well, we're sat here with Solomon Rondon up front.
Yeah, it's a tough
Like
world.
it honestly starts to feel like the Merseyside derby's not even a derby anymore. It's just a big brother kicking shit out of the little brother, just booting us, just kick us over when it's like, because in the end, the only way we beat them is we've literally got to try injure Salah. And I hate saying that because we look like scumbags, but that's the only way we can stop them. It's literally, that game is damage control. Maybe we pull something out. Because even when we won them, because like the last Merseyside derby, I felt like that was the best chance we'd had to win it in years.
Yeah.
And we took the chance. We did. And Carlo Ancelotti can manage in the big games, and he proved it there. But because it's at Goodison the first game, I know, because hopefully I don't know if they're limiting the tickets. I'm hoping not. I'm trying to get me and my dad one. So thank God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. I think he gets sacked if we get what happened to United. He gets sacked.
No, because he's already had a humiliating defeat already this season.
Yeah,
to Watford.
But losing 5-2 to Watford due to mainly stuff that's not Rafa's fault. He can't control Michael Keane and Godfrey having clangers. It's not his
but
choice.
you could argue he can't control, what they do on the pitch on the derby.
Yeah, but even the zonal marking, he's putting. Yeah, but you can't get smashed 5-0 by Liverpool and get away with it, even if it's not his fault, can you?
Solskjaer's managed it, but I do agree that it'd be embarrassing. I think it'd send a lot of people's heads west.
I think Solskjaer's gone this weekend. I think Spurs beat him, and that's it.
Yeah, I think this is a must. Like, if there's ever a must win, this is a must win for him.
I think they're keeping Ollie in, and I think they're talking over managers behind his back, Conte, Zidane, and they're seeing which one. Because in the end, if Conte and Zidane say no, why sack Ollie? What else are you going to get? Ronald Koeman. You know what I mean? So it's.
Well, you were gonna mention the zonal marking, and Steve K's made a good point here, and I do get why managers do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the theory of it. I'm just saying I don't think we've got the players for it. But he said Carragher's comments on Rafa's zonal marking, and he said when it clicked, it clicked. And I don't know if anyone watched the overlap with Neville and Carragher where they were walking around Bootle. But Neville were asked about Houllier and Benitez, and Carragher said, which is why the loss was so out of character. He said that he loved playing under Benitez, and a lot of the defensive players did. He said the attacking players weren't as keen, but he said every defensive Liverpool player loved it under Benitez.
Yeah, but because that's what we need to be like. We need to be like that mid-2000s Liverpool team, and it hurts to say it, but that mid-2000s Liverpool team won a Champions League with Jimmy Traore against AC Milan. So, it's just... There is... Rafa's... I don't think Rafa's lost it. I don't, because we all thought Moyes had lost it at Sunderland, and now look, Moyes has just knocked both Manchester clubs out of the League Cup in a row. He's beating Spurs. He's beating us. They're, fifth in the league?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's just... I think with Rafa, I think the one thing we need is defensive stability. And if we lose the derby by 4 or 5, we've lost 2 goals by 5 before Christmas. He has to go, because then he's just not offering defensive stability, is he?
No, but I mean, people have been saying it here in the comments. It would leave us. Don't get me wrong, I don't disagree, but it'd leave us in the tough spot again. Of I can't remember. It might have been James was putting it here. You can't keep swapping managers. There's clubs that have been sent to the lower leagues of football with because for doing the same mistakes we keep doing, which is swapping and changing. And I think the one thing we need, whether it's Rafa or someone else, is proper stability at this club. That's one thing, and then a good sorting out from the board down of who's in charge of what. But a bit of stability wouldn't go amiss here, because I watched the United. I was with a mate who's a United fan, and I was like, do you know what? I like it when a manager gets sacked because there's all that the drama, the merry-go-round, who's going to fill it. I said, and it's just nice to know that it's not my club for a change that's involved in it, because we seem I think it's on average a season and a half we go.
Yeah, but it's because the board hired crap, don't they? Like Carlo was, I don't even Carlo was a chance at stability, even if he just stayed.
That was a bit of a treat for me, though. He was. Carlo Ancelotti was massive.
I honestly do think he was too stubborn for a team like Everton. I think that's why we kept, because he's one of those managers where he's a big game manager. He'll win you the big games, but then the little games, for example, Real Madrid versus Sheriff, are the ones he bottles. Champions League finals, well, you're 3-0 up, loses it. I think he's just, if you put him against a team of superstars, he knows how to beat them. He knows how to beat other superstars. You put him up against part-time farmers from a fake country, they lose. So it's just, I think Carlo was a good appointment, and like Owen says, if we kept spending money, then yes, we probably could have gone up the league. But it's a what if, and I just think Carlo suits bigger clubs than us better. So I think Rafa was a smart signing. I don't think he was a signing we wanted, but at the same time, if we would have put, against, I've completely lost my wording now, but if we'd have hired a nice attacking manager, we could be bottom of the league. You never know. So it's
under the current circumstance, I think Rafa's best for this. Bearing in mind lack of money to spend, injuries, really bad depth in the squad. Which was we had bad depth last season as well, but our fullback situation hasn't got any better. I think he's best suited for this job. He will try and get the best out of what we have. Andrew Marshall's just put here, are we genuinely scared that the manager might go to Newcastle? We both said no, we don't think he's got it in him to do that. And then he says, who would you have as the manager? We've said a couple of dream ones, but we reckon
give it to Dunk, and then if Dunk, give it to Dunk on an interim basis until end of December. If he does a good job, let him have the job until the end of the season. If he's crap, bring someone in just before Christmas time, middle of December, and then give them the transfer window to do what they want. I don't see Erwin Koeman. You put Howe with a thingy fair, but I wouldn't mind Howe on the one circumstance is that he is a blue. And it is but it is one of those things where if anyone's going to have enough passion to do it, then it's him. And we all give him crap. Did his Bournemouth side not batter us on the last day of the season? Did his Bournemouth side not constantly batter us? Like, in the end, people saying Eddie Howe's not a good manager, he is, though, because you can't say someone who got Bournemouth from League 2 with a points deduction to the Premier League isn't good. Yes, he's not. Because what's Everton's standard now? What is Everton's standard? We finished...
Higher than Howard. Yeah, but we finished... Howe, I'd hope.
Yeah, we finished 10th. So it's just, it's...
I mean, the thing with Eddie Howe for me is, like, I don't believe the blue stuff because there was literally a kick-off over Jose Baxter getting a role and us being too sentimental. And in that case, there's plenty of Everton fans, you could hire from within, you give it Baines, he's a fan, sort of thing. So I'm not buying
Bainesy's got the tactical, but Bainesy's got the tactical sense of a Twix. I love the guy, but come on. Like, at least with Howe, right? Howe, I wouldn't want Eddie Howe. But compared to a lot of other managers, I'd rather have him. Because in the end, Howe's someone who would work with a director of football in the sense that Eddie Howe isn't the best at transfers. So I feel like there would be it would involve brands a lot more. But yeah, so it's just like Wormy puts here, But it's just, Erwin, the thing is, I'm not advocating for us to give Howe the job. It's just when, people in chats and stuff try to act like he's not a good manager and then try to act like we're above this sort of standard when we're hiring relegation from the Chinese league and relegation with Newcastle. Rafa's obviously unreal, but my point is, we are not in the position to be saying we're better than this manager. We're not, because we are mid-table at best. That's us.
I mean,
go on.
What I will say with Eddie Howe is, like, one, I think he's a manager who suited where he was, aka Bournemouth. He knew the club. He moved away from the club, didn't get on very well at Burnley, returned to a club, did well at a club he loves and knows. I don't think he knows Everton that well. So I sort of like worried that it was actually just he was comfortable in the place he was, and that's why he succeeded a bit better.
You can't not be comfortable with it, though, can you? Because I think we forget how small of a club Bournemouth actually is, in a sense. Bournemouth have no right to ever be in the Premier League for that, 3 years?
Yeah.
No right. The results they got, no right. He's right. Maybe Eddie Howe isn't good enough for Everton, but Eddie Howe is a good manager. There's no doubt that Eddie Howe is a good manager. And anyone who says he isn't, you need to stop playing FIFA. That's the nicest way I can need to put it to you, lads. You need to stop playing FIFA and Football Manager if you don't think Eddie Howe's a good manager. It's absolutely wild. It's like, I wouldn't take him at Everton. There's a few managers I'd take off. Do you know what? There's probably at least 10 managers I'd take over him. But it's just, it's mental when I think we're a mid-table team. I don't know if it's me being pessimistic and not just having any optimism for the team, because I don't. But we're mid-table. I don't think Rafa leaves. So to be fair, I don't think we have to worry. I don't really think we have to worry about him leaving anywhere. But yeah, Howe definitely should have snatched the Celtic job. I feel like that was a good career reviver for him. He could have done something similar to Brendan Rodgers. He could have used Celtic to really build his career back up and then maybe get a job even because Leicester were mid-table.
Newcastle. He is one of the names.
Newcastle, I think he'd be good. Exactly, Wormy. Howe's not a top manager, but wait, just because we've got Carlo, we got lucky? Can we really get top managers again?
I mean, Benitez, I will say this, the last two managers we've had are Champions League winners. So, I think that sort of gives us the hope that...
Tom, I don't think... We're not saying replace Rafa with Eddie Howe. That's not what we said. Someone said Eddie Howe with a sick face in the chat. And I just said Eddie Howe's not a bad manager. Don't worry, I don't want him to replace Rafa. We've said throughout the entire live stream, if you're watching, we want Rafa.
James Brinkley's put Silver's doing all right in the Championship, which he is doing well. I mean, Eddie Howe's not my cup of tea. I think if he went to Newcastle, I think they'd go down. I don't think he's the type they need. He's not defensively sound enough.
I think as long as Eddie Howe is enough. How is Eddie Tom, mate? He kept Bournemouth in the league for 3 years. Bournemouth. Come on, lad. Seriously. Bournemouth. We don't need a top manager. We need a manager who builds us up. Klopp wasn't a top. What? Klopp had won 2 Bundesligas and got to the Champions League final, Erwin. Klopp was a top manager. He'd had his career. He had his career cracked a bit by a bad season with Dortmund, but he was a top manager. Brendan Rodgers, Erwin, is the perfect example of the manager we need. Not a top manager, but literally the exact same thing you said about Klopp. But I just agree. I think that Klopp was a top manager at the time. But yeah, your point is bang on. We need a manager who can build us up, and that might be Rafa. So I think Rafa's the man who's going to be with us for at least. I'd say at least until the end of the season. I don't see him getting sacked. I think we'll give him to the end of the season, and if we finish anywhere below 11th, we've got to sack him, I think, as well.
I still think I think 10th to 12th is an all right finish, bearing in mind the state of the squad. State of the squad and no money.
Premier League experience isn't essential. No, it isn't. If Premier League experience isn't essential at all, Pep Guardiola had none. Klopp had none. Tuchel had none. Potter managed non-league maybe, but he was in Scandinavia most of it.
It was
Yeah,
through
you
the
know,
Osterons. It's someone else mentioned this about looking elsewhere and they mentioned Gaultier. And I
no,
think not so
needs
much as managers, but players as well. Sometimes I worry that we sort of have our blinkers that the Premier League is the only place you can buy or look at managers. And it's not. There's plenty of good managers and players out there that go beyond the English
that's the problem.
divisions. And I don't think we're the only club, by the way, that does it. You know, there's plenty of Premier League clubs that tend to just buy Premier League players, and it's like,
Burnley.
yeah, but it works for Burnley in a. Although
Fair, they signed Maxwell
Cornet,
Cornet.
Cornet, who seems to be doing quite well for them.
Yeah, but it's just we need
I
a
know.
manager.
Obviously, Owen, who comes on the channel, is a massive fan of Sean Dyche, and he does. Sean Dyche does a wonderful job as well. He does a wonderful job at Burnley.
I think Dyche is another one where Dyche doesn't get the recognition properly he deserves, but I also think he's one of those managers that'd never get a job like us. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's just.
Yeah, I think there's I think the way our board's set up, there's a certain type that if they had, if Fad could convince anyone, he'd like to convince the Koemans, the big names. I think he's obsessed with this big Hollywood.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't need a big name. And in the end, yes, Rafa will do a good job. We back Rafa, but we also have to realise if this fails, that the big name experiment has to be over. It has to be, unless there's a real standout name. It has to be like an Ancelotti, where you just can't ignore that name. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be the top of the top, and they will actually be willing to join Everton. But then there's the problem of, is it another Carlo where another big job offers them? What about Brentford's manager? No chance. I would love Thomas Frank. No chance.
Brentford are really well, not just their manager. I'd just like to be set up like Brentford are.
Brentford are literally set
Not
up
just
that
the
as soon as
manager.
they replace Thomas Frank, there'll be another manager not just as good, but on his level.
Their
ready.
owner's incredibly smart. He was in gambling, saw gaps in the market. He's the reason XG is so big now.
Yeah.
Really well set out club that is.
I'll say, James, if you have a look, if you Google or use YouTube and look at how Brentford are set up, that is how a club should be set off.
Tifo did one the other day for him. Speaking of Tifo, I feel like Farhad, to be fair, with Managerial with Ancelotti, was a bit hard done by, because they were reporting that he was their Hollywood signing before Koeman, and couldn't quite believe his luck when he got him. And then it's so Everton that the guy chased the guy for 5 years, and then as soon as a better offer comes, he jumps ship. I can't help but feel a little bit sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame him for chasing Carlo Ancelotti, can you? You know what I mean? But
no,
you can blame him for when the rumours came out in December to January was when the first rumour came out that he might leave for Real Madrid. Just have a shortlist ready, because we were writing our shortlist just before the Euro started. Like, I understand you never expect him to leave, but as soon as you hear the rumour of Real Madrid, you go, right, names we can ring as soon as, if this happens, because in the end, that avoids everything. I feel like we would have got a manager sorted before the Euro. Did we get Rafa before the Euros? We got him during, didn't we?
No, was it during or it's during?
No, I think it was literally in the semis or something. It was during one of the last few rounds.
Yeah, because the Martinez links were about and that was like,
because there were rumours that Martinez would accept the job after.
Yeah.
Ten Hag would be the dream. Same Owen, I'd love it. I'd love Eric Ten Hag, but yeah, I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to United.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, I think Conte said he wanted it, but he's a bit worried about the club structure.
Yeah, and they don't. I think it's Zidane for United. Pogba's idol, arguably one of the best midfielders to ever play football, demands respect.
Ronaldo apparently wants him as well, I've heard.
Exactly. Giving Ronaldo Varane back.
Looking at some of the others here, Abigail agrees with you that Rice. She rates Rice a lot more this year than she did last year.
Yeah,
I think he is
Rice.
turning people around.
Declan Rice is fantastic. I think the Euros. I think he was good last season. The Euros where I think he really started to take a step forward, and then this season, I feel like it's because he's been off. I feel like Souček is now the more defensive one. and Rice is the one who goes
Yeah.
forward more, and it's working. It's because now everyone expects Souček to be the attacker, and
He's
then
good, Souček,
it's
as well.
Rice. Yeah, Souček's really good, but now it's Rice. So yeah, it's just us sat here pining because of how many players are freaking. How many teams are ran better than us and have better players than us, and are just.
Well, Andrew Marshall said here, do you think Potter would be good at us? I mean, I'd like him. I think you'd have to give him a couple of seasons. I think you'd have to give him a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't tell you if he'd be good with us because there are managers where you just think perfect suit, they go there and then a crap. But
I don't think he'd hit the ground running straight away. I think he'd finish. 10th,
I don't know.
10th,
like if I look,
okay.
I look at us and then I look at what Brighton have. I think you could set it up similarly to how he sets Brighton up.
I wouldn't.
You've got your big you've got your big bruising centre back Yeremina. You've got your more silky ball playing one in. Your Keane's probably the better passer, so Keane would probably play that.
Yeah,
Keane would be our Lewis Dunk, and then you've got the irritating one in Godfrey. You've got Digne, who's a really good wing back. You've got probably a new right back. Pickford, good with his feet. Decore is probably our Basuma. Yeah, I think we can do it. And I think we've got a much better striker than they have too. So
call me superstitious, but I've got it in my head that 5 back at Everton just is cursed.
I think it's because we've not. In the end, it's cursed.
I've not seen it work.
It's cursed, but I think it's cursed because we haven't had a manager who's like, for example, if we brought in Antonio Conte in some weird world, the 5 back would work because it's his preferred formation. When we play a 5 back, it's desperate times call for desperate measures, and we're just going desperate and trying to defend. Like, there's no tactics when we play a 5 back. There's just sit back and pray, boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we did it, it was for whatever reason, it seemed like we were too far from, the defense was too far away from the midfield to the attack. It was a bit tough to watch at times. Looking at a couple more of your comments though, as we wind down. Wormy said Brentford are all right, but he's a bit concerned they might be like Leeds, where they've got to keep their fitness levels very high to contain it. Definitely. I think that's a fair comment. They press quite well, but you need fitness to press. James Brinkley's put, I'll settle for 2 to 3 more years of mediocre football under Benitez if, when he moved on, he left building blocks in place for a young, hungry manager to push us into Europe. Yeah, it's hard to say because it means 2 to 3 years of no excitement. But I mean, I'd just love to see some progression.
That's all we need. That's all we want. We don't ask for miracles. We just ask for progression.
Couple of really good youngsters that are highly rated with a lot of potential that you could see actually make their way up at Everton, not just he looks brilliant and we'll never see him again.
Go and go. I think I'm saying that way. It's got a point. Why not just give Imran a chance at this point? Because in the end, Michael Keane doesn't know his feet from his arse. Godfrey, I'm not going to slag Godfrey off because he was our player of the year last year, but he hasn't been very good this year. I think Branthwaite should get a run in maybe one of the FA Cups, or if one of them gets injured, I think he does. Does he even get put on the bench?
I don't think so.
I remember when was it under Ancelotti where he played towards the end of one of the seasons and he looked really good.
Yeah, I think he got a couple of games. Well, I don't know if it was a regular thing, but he got a couple of games.
He got a couple of games towards the end of the season, and then I literally think the one game he got taken out was the Bournemouth game where we got battered by Josh King. But
yeah, reading a couple more. Tom Harrison's put crying out for stability and the conversations about changing formations and managers. That's a problem. We're just discussing the manager change purely on the theoretical basis that Newcastle come in and get what they want, which is Benitez. This isn't a Benitez out. Yeah, this isn't Rafa out, or because we lost at the weekend. Because we're still in a very good spot. I think we're still in a really, really good spot in the league, and it'd be silly to be that reactionary over a poor. I'm not taking anything away. It was a poor result, but we don't want to be, reactionary to that. We're just saying it as a theoretical. Newcastle really do want Rafa Benitez, but we're 8th and we're like, we're level on points with United.
Yeah, there you go. We're only 3 points off 5th.
Which would get us, the conference would get us Europa League, wouldn't it? Which is even better.
5th would get us. Yeah, because in the end, listen, I'm not asking for Godfrey had bad COVID and played right centre back, left centre back. We've done. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with me. That's what I mean. Why I don't want to start blaming Godfrey for things, because I think I saw something about heart problems as well. Which, if he has got heart problems, why is he playing? You know what I mean? So it's just...
That's quite scary. He's got heart problems.
Yeah, it's Inky put it there. But listen, I'm not going to blame Godfrey. It's like I said, he's a player of the year. It's Tom's what Rafa. We know he won't go back to.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think
the point is,
it's just theoretical.
The channel reports on rumours too. That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't think.
Inky, I know you put that.
We don't think he does.
Yeah, Inky, I know you put that. I said I was reading your thing out, pal. But yeah, from what? Yeah, so maybe Godfrey should get dropped for a little bit, especially if he's got heart problems. I think that's something I'd never want to see, especially with a player I like as much as Godfrey. So, maybe
that's scary.
Maybe it's something that he needs to get checked, and maybe he shouldn't be playing until he's, fully ready to, or maybe just not making 90 minutes, maybe playing 70 and then being taken off for Bramthwaite. But the problem is, taking centre-backs off and then they lose their mojo and then...
Yeah. James Brinkley's asked us another question here of, if you have billions in the bank, do you stick with Benitez or do you make a marquee signing manager of intent? I'd make a statement. Well, I guess that is Newcastle's position at the minute. What do they do? Do they go for? And I think that's what James is saying. If you're Newcastle, this isn't an Everton. He's saying, do you go for Benitez or do you make a statement of intent? I agree with him. I'd like to make a statement for intent, but they could go down next season, and I think that scares a couple of the top fellas.
I think the problem is, though, it's not bringing in Benitez, it's bringing in a manager that Newcastle fans really loved, and the Newcastle manager that they've probably liked the most since Sir Bobby Robson. And then having the possibility of that manager back who everyone loves, everyone would take him back. It's the owners trying to get the fans on side. That's what it is.
I think I said it on the channel the other day as well. He is exactly what they need, because they're not going to get the big one. What they need is a guy that's going to make them survive, establish them as, a mid-table, best of the rest, could be, a European, establish them as that, and then you get the manager in to push for that final bit. Which could be Benitez. I'm not saying it's not Benitez, but he would suit that role, and then they could go get a Hollywood guy once the building blocks are in place, which is what Rafa would put in.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused about him sacking Bruce. Listen, a lot of people don't like Bruce, but in the end, he is stability most of the time. I know they're 19th, but I think that's because he felt the pressure to try play decent football because of everything that happened. Because I think Newcastle were playing some decent stuff. From I'd say February, March onwards, there was quite a lot of good Newcastle games, but you also have to understand why they got rid of him. But yeah, I think the main thing they should focus on is short-term stability, as in staying up. They can't be bringing in Fonseca, who, has been seen as quite defensively suspect, and then giving him Fabian Schär, Jamal Lascelles, and Federico Fernandez. It's a nightmare waiting to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've got to be really careful with who they go for now. Before we finish, though, we'll look at some of the rumours in the Everton news today. Obviously, I think Inky might have put it, and a couple of others of you apologise for not getting the names. But one of the ones is Yuri Alberto. Apparently, we're linked with him, the young Brazilian striker, highly rated, bit of a wonder kid. AC Milan are also after him. Wonder kids, I don't mind this type of transfer, because if it doesn't go well, at least there's some money to be made from an off sale.
At least they can run.
Yeah, I'd rather sign him than a 29-year-old who's past their peak, because at least with a youngster, you're still going to have some sell-on value. Signing a 30-year-old on a 3-year contract by the time they go is just going to be a bit tough. So I'd quite like to see, us go for that. Harry Sutter as well. Apparently, Big Dunk's been down and watched him at Stoke.
Very good player. I watched him when Stoke played Derby. He's massive. Do you know what? He's big and he's good with the ball at his feet as well. I don't think we need another centre-back, and the rumoured price tag's 20 mil. But very, very good player. I think definitely needs that step up to the Premier League.
I mean, if Duncan Ferguson likes him, I will say this. It means he's a bit of a, a battler, puts his, tries his best. He's a bit of a workhorse.
Let me tell you. While
Duncan
you look
Ferguson
at the other,
doesn't strike me as the type to go watch and recommend somebody who walks around for 90 minutes with their head, between their legs. There's a type of player I think Dunk likes, and it'll be aggressive, in your face.
6'5". So
6'5".
So he's big as well. Like I remember when we were at the game and we were watching the Stoke players, and he towered over everyone, even the goalkeepers.
6'5" is massive. That
good with the ball.
At the back.
Yeah, I mean, oh god, do you know what? Do you know what? If we sign him, it is a free back, isn't it? If we sign him, it is a free back.
And then Michael Keane to.
No, Michael Keane on the bench.
Michael Keane played last year was better in a free back. I think it offers that protection where he can get away with doing some silly stuff. Not quite trying to dribble the ball out past City. That was really silly stuff on the last day. Not too sure where his head was there. But look, we are probably going to end it in a minute, but we'll read the last couple. Kieran PD's put, don't really understand why some people doubt Rafa in our fan base. He's been working miracles with bare bones. He'll stay as long as he's loved by the majority. I mean, goes without saying he's done a really good job. Like we were saying before, I said to Kat, I don't know what other manager would do as well under the circumstances. He's had really key players as well. It wouldn't be too bad if, obviously Fabian Delph is injured, but that's not a massive miss. But he's lost Richarlison, he lost Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's now lost Decore. He's losing big players.
He's lost Coleman, Godfrey. Coleman. Alan missed some games, didn't he?
Yeah, he's not losing fringe players. He's losing big players here.
I think a majority of our main starting 11 has been injured already. Because, I mean, I thought the other day there was one, I don't know if you've seen it before we end up, the fake Alan Myers account saying that Damari Gray was injured for 6 to 8 weeks, and I fell for it. I fell for it, and I was like, I was dead serious. I was like, yep, season's over. That's it. We're done.
Yeah, that one got me, I must admit. For a split second, I was like, James Prinkley's put, we're years behind teams ahead of us. The 6 to 8 teams pushing for the top 4 now.
Yep.
All better squads. Clubs are all around with better recruitment models. Time to sort ourselves out. I agree. I think we need a good someone else. It might have been James said that start at the top as well. And by the top we mean the board down. Needs a real good sorting out, and just needs some clarity on who's in charge of what. Like we said before, you shouldn't have to ask 3 people or have a transfer get confirmed by 3, 4, including the fella who I can't remember, who's not even involved with the club. It shouldn't be that complicated to say the manager wants him. Can we go get him? It really should be down to the manager and the director of football, as they're the ones who are working.
But it's Everton. That's it.
Yeah.
That video.
That Ken Wright video does the rounds so often nowadays.
It's perfect, isn't it? We don't need to rant. We should literally, instead of doing these streams where we just complain, all the Toffee Blues should do, all we should do is just play that clip on loop for an hour. And then that's how you know it's just us. It's just Everton being Everton once again.
It is unreal. Erwin's put, would you sign a striker or give Sims a chance? Shame about him being injured.
Give Sims a chance.
I don't think we've got the money, to be fair, in January. And I think there's some positions we need to sort a bit more.
Can't be worse than Rondon.
No, but I think right back might need to come forward before then.
Well, I think I saw Inky put this, and I've read it as well. Apparently, Inter want to loan out Dumfries now but I don't want him. I've watched a few Inter games this season. I don't want that man anymore. To put it in context for everyone who doesn't watch the Italian league, he's been replaced by Matteo Darmian, the Man United flop. He's very rash, very, very rash, and in a team like us where we seem a bit, yellow card happy at times. I think it's probably it's just not a good sign. Holgate plus 15 million for Aarons would be a good sign. It would if Norwich accept that in January.
Norwich do like the look of him, apparently. So the Brighton are looking at Holgate, supposedly.
No, I don't want us to give him to Brighton because then he'll come good at Brighton. We know he will.
I
He'll
said
come
that the
good
other
at
day.
Brighton,
Yeah, good.
and then they'll sell him to like Tottenham for 40 million, and then we'll be sat here like, are you joking?
That Mazza, I'm gonna butcher
Ajax
the name.
right back.
Yeah, he's meant to be on a free, isn't he, at the end of this season?
I mean, listen, offer Ajax like if he doesn't sign a new contract, an easy thing to do there is just offer Ajax like 2 to 5 million and say, well, you can lose him for free anyway. Here's some money.
Get him in a Bosman, can't you? Come January.
Yeah, but you can only get pre-contract.
Mm.
So we'd have to wait till June. So we'd have to actually probably pay them something to get him in January. And I'd rather us.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather us just pay the chump change in January, the two to the like. Because what did they want for Onana? Because I know they're waiting for his contract to expire because he's back now.
Yeah, I was just about to say his contract's up.
They wanted 7 million when he had a full year left on his contract. So maybe we could probably get him for a similar amount.
Is he still banned?
No, he's back. He's just come back to training.
Oh,
yeah, but then he's not going to... I don't know, because they've got Stecklenburg, but apparently they're still not... He's not going to play, and they're just going to get rid of him. What?
Apparently, according to Transfer Market, he's had groin surgery and he's expected back on June the 30th, 2022, which is when his contract ends.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. I just think that's basically Ajax saying, you're going, mate. Well, he's training again. I don't know if that means he's fully fit, but he's training.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad. Aaron's I'd quite like, and Norwich are defo going down.
No, Norwich might break Derby's record.
I think they will. You know, I don't watch them and think that they've got anything about them.
Like ironically, the best performance they probably put up was against us, because of course it was.
Typical, isn't it? Yeah. So I mean, looking at them now, they're 2 points from 9 games. I don't know. Maybe
they've got to sack him. They've got to sack Farker and bring Allardyce in. They've got. They've got to. That's their only chance. Because they've got some decent players, to be fair, to Norwich.
Yeah, they've got quite a few really nice players, but it's a system thing. But I think we will end that there. Don't forget, guys, to like the stream before you leave. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, we can smash some of the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. You can't. If you're watching this on YouTube and not the live stream, you can feel free to leave a comment. Cal, thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute
Thank you for having me.
It's been a bit of an odd chat, hasn't it, about the managers and stuff? But
it always
hopefully it's only theoretical, and we will not be seeing the manager merry-go-round come to Goodison Park again. But that is all from all of us. Stay safe. See you later.